everyone. So I was talking with a friend the other day about pacifism and how we both don't believe in it. And I was thinking in terms of how pacifism is this mindset that is instituted by the ruling classes. I mean, that's my main problem with it. Like, don't let your enemy educate you. Question the education that your enemy gave you, right? This is how I think about things in the world because that's who I am, you know? I am an outsider of the system in that way, like mentally. Like, I always have had that mistrust of institutions of power, I guess, because I saw how corrupt and inadequate they were from an early age. And maybe that's poverty, maybe that's just my own self being, I wonder sometimes why we are the way we are, because I look at the stars about it too. So, there's something to be said for just being ourselves and trusting in that more than anything. But yeah, and that goes into freedom as well, right? We aren't mentally free as human beings. It's rare to find any sort of like liberty in terms of our minds. Most people are very rigid. I'm no exception. I'm incredibly fucking rigid. Ask anyone who knows me. I'm like the worst. But I really, really, really know that it's a problem with people in general. So, like, we act and speak and do things in a way, that is fake, and it's just all the time. And most people don't even acknowledge they're doing it. And I think that goes into pacifism as well. Like, pacifism is like, as a tactic, right? Let's just say it's the same shit as like, tolerating people in the workplace and shit like that. It's the same kind of like, be passive. Don't be passionate about life. Don't be involved. And I'm not saying, this is the thing, I'm not saying this about it as a tactic though, because like, I criticize pacifism, but like, I'm not going to tell people what strategy they should take, right? That's not my main goal. I just think that for Westerners to call themselves pacifists is kind of fucking hypocritical, because the governments we live under export violence to the rest of the world, and we all have blood on our hands. Like, I'm drinking coffee right now this morning. Like, think about that. Think about all the shit that had to happen so that I could have a coffee with cream in it this morning. For the vegans out there, it's real cream, right? So there's that level of suffering, but let's just talk about the coffee itself and all the exploitation that had to go into place for that to get to me. Like, we live in a very violent world, and Westerners, particularly, like, Americans, don't risk anything ever. Like, we are risk averse as a people. We want comfort or we want death. Like, just culturally speaking, that's the thing that's going on. So I I think it's I think it's weird that like we have just I don't know. It's bizarre to me. It's bizarre to me anyway, pacifism. When we talk about it as in these circles, I'm just like, where are you coming from? Because like where I'm sitting, I've got like a lot of blood on my hands as it is. Like I am not, and I'm also like of the opinion that like the risk aversion of Americans specifically, U.S. Americans, not all Americans, because, I have a thing about including, Canada, like all the American countries, these are the Americas, like, you know, this is colonized land and we're all technically a part of it. So yeah, I just have for citizens of the United States who have lost so many civil liberties and just have, this society is just crumbling rapidly before our eyes. Like, to talk, of pacifism is great because, like, we never risked anything, like collectively. There was no risk going on. Some people risked, some very few people risked for us, but mostly we just went about our lives and put our heads down while the fucking boots marched on. And it's just like, man, I don't know. My main problem with pacifism is that the people who do rise up, I think people should not criticize their tactics at all, for one, because it's so rare. So you should, give your silence is consent. So think about that. When are you being silent and what are you giving consent to with your silence? Like, this is kind of why I don't like when, Americans specifically criticize pacifism, and it's just because, like, or when Americans specifically promote pacifism or criticize one for not identifying as a pacifist or that sort of thing, or for maybe saying that violence would be a possibility, and really coming to terms and grappling with what that means intellectually, because let's be real here, I'm like frail as fuck. I'm not like going to be me committing violence. Not gonna happen. It's just not. But I think that, this is stuff that one should really logically think about. Like, you should go to the ends of your thoughts with these worldviews and viewpoints that you're like into, because I'm trying to keep the sun out, and I just woke up and I'm recording this for you, so you're very blessed to see me in this state. Like, yeah, I feel like I just feel like saying, I got off topic and my brain has wandered. I just feel like that in order to really understand the issues, one has to grapple with violent resistance and its place historically, its place currently, and in terms of being radical, you have to think in terms of liberation, which means you need to like have some sense of other groups of folks who are seeking liberation. So like it means you like think about, well, what are their rights? what do they, and I believe that people have the right to violently defend themselves if need be. If someone is taking your land, your resources, your personhood, yourself, you have the right to retaliate and defend yourself. So, like, that's just, like, fundamental. And if someone has been doing it for fucking centuries and you rise up, you have the right to do that. Like, I believe that. Like, if I didn't believe that, I wouldn't believe that battered women should, like, leave their spouses. You know what I mean? Like, spouse. That was a funny word to come out of me. Spouse. But I wouldn't believe that women should leave violent men if I thought, that the consent, or, like, not even consent. Some people get railroaded, in terms of the world. Like, so many people have just been steamrolled over, and, like, they need time to recoup and to rise up, like, and that's not something that I have a problem with, like, because, again, the blood's on my hands, living in this society, benefiting from it as a citizen, letting these people do this under my name so that I can occupy this land. Like, yeah, it's a lot to think about. So when I think about pacifism, I'm, like, thinking about, like, fuck, I'm not a pacifist. I'm not without violence in myself. And pacifism isn't about my right to do violence. It's about, I think it's about other folks. And I think it's also about, like, in terms of, like, the women's movement, because, that's what I'm about, like, in terms of women's liberation. Some women will have to be violent. I'm not, like, advocating, like, warfare. I don't think it's necessary. I think if women stop letting men plug into them and drain them like batteries, then, like, they would fall apart pretty quickly. Like, I really think women don't give themselves enough credit for how everything goes. Like I said in a recent video, like, we're more valuable than oil. So when you really understand that you are a part of all of this, like, access to you is a big part of this, like, fucked up web of violent sadomasochist power that runs the world, right? When you understand your place in it and how valuable you really are, like, and the fact that you have a mind and a free will, like, I don't know why anyone's tolerating crap anymore. I've decided, like, this year is the year that I'm not tolerating crap in my life anymore. Like, I'm just not. I don't have the time, for one. And this is, many people will be hurt by this because they've been used to Terry, like, fucking enabling their shit, for lack of a better word. But, like, yeah, I can't take it anymore. I can't take it. That's viewed as, violent to some. You take it how you will, but you have to, like, be real, all right? The way we live is not authentic. It is not real, okay? We're afraid to tell some people are afraid to tell their fucking best friends what they really think. These people aren't your friends. If you can't communicate with them honestly, they're not your friends. That's a measure of friendship. That's the only real fucking measure of friendship. Basic fucking respect that I can be authentic with you. Like, if you don't have that, you don't have a friendship. You have associates. You know what I mean? Like, the way we live is alienated as fuck. okay. So I want people to, like, you know, and women specifically, you know, exist in your body really, like, authentically for a day, and then come back, right? And let's talk about, like, how the world perceived you and how you were the problem, right? Yeah, that's the real shit. So, um, I think I've said everything I want to say about pacifism and just like how it interlocks, but like, you know, like I said, you don't have to approve of it, but you should, I think, remain, you know, if you are in a position of immense, like, bloodshed on your hands, like I said again, like, just like, just like globally speaking, right? Globally speaking, you've got blood on your hands, probably just you know, you silent people are, you know, this is like, we're silent about so many things. We are silent about so many things that matter. Like, why not be silent about something that matters, which is people's right to fucking rise up and defend themselves. That's it. That's all I have to say. All right, bye.